Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Samra. Today, I'm gonna start reading Fourth Wing. Finally! So it's been a little bit over a month since this book was published, but it's been all over the place. Everybody on Instagram, everybody on YouTube. I feel like everyone has already read it. Many, like me, have put it in their June TBR, and I'm finally getting to it. I don't know what to expect of this book because it's a romance fantasy, and romance fantasies that get hyped up tend to be very focused on the romance aspect and not on the actual fantasy plot of it. I know that going in, so I'm not gonna have very high expectations for the plot of the story. I hope it will be good. Maybe it's gonna deliver on all aspects of it, but I'm having medium expectations so I can kind of enjoy it without worrying too much about that kind of stuff. Yeah, if that makes sense. So it's almost noon right now and I have the rest of the day off, so I thought it's a good chance to start, recording a vlog for it. So a very short synopsis if you don't know about it already. Our main character is called Violet Sorrengail. She's a 20-year-old girl. She has a very frail body and she gets hurt easily. So she's the daughter of the commander, and her mother kind of forces her to go join this military school to become a dragon rider. I heard that the book is very brutal. It's very war focused. I don't know if it's about the battle scenes or if it's about the training. I heard it's brutal. I don't know. So yeah, Violet has to go there even though she wants to go and become a scribe. She's kind of forced by her mother to join the school to become a dragon rider at the end, but many of them don't survive. So they kind of have to fight for their lives, literally. They have to survive till the end to become the dragon riders and then be chosen by those dragons. So it's a very tough school. It's a very brutal, bloody, and I don't know. I heard things. If you're sensitive to that stuff, have it in mind. And the romance part, I think this book is an enemies to lovers romance. So there's this guy, Zayden, if I'm not mistaken, that he wants to kill her. Obviously. I really don't know much about who this guy is, what's gonna happen. I just know that while it's going to a war school, there are dragons there, it's bloody, and she's supposedly a smart character, which I like actually. So I'm gonna start reading the book while listening to it on audio. It goes faster that way for me. And I will update you on my thoughts as soon as I have them. So yeah, bye for now. Okay guys, update. I read 6 chapters. I'm at the beginning of chapter 7. That would be about 85 pages from the actual book. I don't have the actual book, but I calculated, and that would be about 85, 86 pages into the book. So it's a very fair amount to have my first opinion, I think. Well, the book starts very confusing. I didn't expect that. I heard that it's a war fantasy romance story, but I didn't expect it to be so confusing at first. Everything is thrown at you at once. The fighting systems, the different sections of their army, and that's a bit confusing, but it gets better. It's at 4 chapters I was like, what's happening here? But now as I finish chapter 6, I'm starting to grasp what's happening in this world. The book has very good parts and a bit of annoying parts, but they're not many, and I'm sure they're gonna slide to the background a bit as I read a little bit more into the story, but I'm gonna tell you about them. We don't have much time to get to know the world as the action begins because it starts very fast, and at times it feels a little bit like the writer is kind of info dumping us. She's trying to gives us information about the world in not very subtle ways. I don't mind it a lot, but I tend to not absorb information that is given that way by the author. It doesn't feel good, but it'll get better. From what I've seen so far, the magic system is promising. It can be very enjoyable. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but their magic system is related to the bond with their dragons. Each rider with their dragon has a specific bond, and that kind of enables them to access a certain kind of magic. So yeah, the magic system is quite promising. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. If it's expanded very well, it's gonna be really fun, because everyone has their own abilities and you kind of can play around with that a lot. I really like that aspect. I haven't seen much of the dragons yet. There was just a few glimpses of them and that wasn't enough. I don't know how they exactly communicate, and I'm really curious to see that part, because one of the things that drew me to this book was the dragons and the fact that I heard they're very bold in this story, and I really want to get to that. Another good thing about the story is the school thing. It's very, I don't know if it's going to continue like this, but it's very school-based, kind of magic school. It's not magic school, but it's more like a military school, but yeah, the trope is there. I think I'm going to enjoy that part too. And Violet, the main character, is good. I don't know if she's smart. It's more like I think she's more well-read because she was training to be a scribe. I think she has a lot of knowledge. She can be smart too, I guess. I don't know. She's so far been good. I haven't been bothered by her. So in conclusion, the characters so far have been good. I really don't like the mother. I'm sure there's gonna be a background story to support her behavior, but at this moment, I don't like her. She's one other thing I have a problem with. It's again not a spoiler. It's very obvious. It's nothing to do with the plot. This is I suppose, a country that's dealing with war, that's dealing with a lot of conflict. I don't get the brutality of this school. I don't know if it's there just to, make the story interesting. I don't know if we're trying to, just be brutal to keep the story upbeat. I don't know why we're doing that. But I was confused. Lives are precious. Why throw it away like that without any reason? I mean, people die left and right. I mean, they could just go out, help serve in other ways, but they just die here in this awful school. I don't get the death rate. I don't get the violence used in the book. I don't know. It might be a higher purpose as to why the writer chose to, put this much violence into the book. I don't know. If it's there, I will take back my word in the future in updates I give you as I read into the books. It might be like that. It might have a very legit reason. But at this point, I don't see why the society is behaving that way. I don't see why they're so cruel. Yeah, I think that's about it. My problems with the book. Oh, what? I have more problems. And the bullying. The bullying always annoys me a bit because it's so YA. Our main character is 20. She's technically an adult. I don't know if... Yeah, it's a trope I don't like. It might be just me. It's just a trope that I actively do not enjoy. I don't like it at all. It gets boring after a little bit for me. And I hope it's not going to be a focus. I'm pretty sure Violet is gonna have problems because it's a school and because they're fighting and because there are not as many dragons as there are people, and there's a competition, there's a fierce competition, and they have to, kill each other off, fight their way to the top and be the best. So bullying is gonna be present, I suppose. I just hope it's not, the main theme, because that would be a little bit, not desirable for my reading tastes. I'm not saying it's for everyone. But I'm really excited to see more of that magic system and more of the dragons, because I think that's going to be the highlight of this book. Oh, and I haven't told you, we haven't yet been introduced to the romance parts. It's very early. It's enemies to lovers, and it shouldn't be here anytime soon, but just so you know, it's not there yet. So yeah, that was my thoughts for the first 6 chapters. I will keep you updated, and I just realized the book is 39 chapters if I'm not mistaken. Hang on. Yeah, 39 chapters in total. That's a lot. And I just read 6. This one's gonna take a while for me to read, but I'll see you in a bit when I have, developed more feelings and thoughts about the book. Bye. Okay, so a very quick update. We have just finished talking to Zayden, and I already like him. So I'm kind of starting to get what this is about. It's really good. I mean, if it's not messed up, it's really good. I'm enjoying it. I can tell you this much, he's very interesting. His special ability, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but his special ability is really cool. He has the potential to really keep me invested in the story. He has that kind of potential. I'm starting to really like it a lot more. Hang on. His character, I'm in, count me in. I'm officially in as of this moment. So yeah, I'll tell you about it later because I don't have any specific thoughts yet. It's just that I met him and I came here to tell you that. Okay, so see you later. Guys, I'm on chapter 25 right now and I have some thoughts to share with you. Starting this book, I thought it's gonna be a fun, hyped up romance fantasy book that's gonna be okay to read. I honestly didn't expect much more than that, but after you read at least 100 pages into the book, you kind of start to get the hang of it. At first, I had this, I didn't quite connect with the logic of the story. But after that first 100 pages passes, after you get through that, it continuously gets better and better, and it's very satisfying to go through that. Let me tell you this: the introduction of dragons is just gonna. That's what makes this book so good for me. I mean, everything else is very nice. Violet is amazing. I really like the character of Violet as a female main character. She's awesome. She's funny. She's really unique. She's not like other badass characters we see in other books. She's really lovely. I really connect with her. And Zayden is also, well, we already expect Zayden to be very good, and he is. But my main favorite character of this book is the dragon. I'm not gonna tell you anything about the dragon, but oh god, the introduction of that character is just amazing. The dragons make this book stand apart from other books for me. It's so enjoyable. It's so witty. They have personalities, and I didn't expect that. I kind of expected them to be, side plots to the story, assets the writer is going to use to make it interesting. But no, they have personalities and they carry so much of the story, and I'm so happy that I get to experience this. Right now, I think I'm around 4 stars for this book. There are still parts in the logic of the story that I have maybe a little bit problems with, not much, but everything else is so good. It's so enjoyable. It's very fast, and I'm really enjoying it. I was happily surprised with this book. It's so good. I think I have to finish it before I have a very firm opinion. But so far, I think it's kind of worth the hype. I'm getting it. It's very enjoyable. It's very fun. And it makes me happy. So, yeah, it does make me happy, but it kind of stops my life because I can't put the book down to go, do other things. And I actually stopped in the middle of Mistborn, so that's something. I can't pick up any other book because I want to finish it first. I have to finish it at least tomorrow if I want to keep my sanity. I'm really enjoying the story. I'm really enjoying the reading experience. It's really good so far. I'll keep you updated on my later thoughts as I get closer to the ending. Yeah. So for now, bye. Hey guys, I'm back again. I finally finished reading Fourthwing, finally, and I have things I want to talk about. I thought it would be kind of cool to put my thoughts as my reviews for Fourthwing into this vlog and make it a reading vlog plus spoiler-free book review. So yeah, I finished the book. This book was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. I usually don't have very high expectations of hyped up books, especially in this genre, romance fantasy genre. They tend to be a little bit less fantasy, more romance focused, and that's fine, of course. But yeah, I keep my expectations a little bit low for these kind of books, but I was pleasantly surprised with Fourthwing. I really enjoyed my time reading this book. I gave this book 4 stars and I wanted to give it 3.5, but it was a 4 because I had so much fun reading the book, regardless of anything else. It was so much fun. If I want to paint the whole picture here without spoiling anything, the book starts at first a bit confusing because it lacks word building. It doesn't have that descriptive word building we usually get in fantasies, because you need to get to know another world besides our own, and that kind of takes time. This book doesn't have a very solid word building to it. It's okay, you can still enjoy the book. We quickly get past that part, and you kind of get used to the pace of the book, to the pace of the story. And Violet is an interesting enough character as a female main character. She's very interesting, and she's also well read. She's a bit smart. She's a bit different from other female students in the college, and that was kind of fun to read about. It does have the vibes of Divergent kind of vibes. I haven't read Hunger Games, but people say it has the Hunger Game vibes as well, and I think that's true. So those parts are very adventurous and very fun to read about. The school system, the classes, the challenges. It's not very well focused on them, but it's still very fun to read about it. Our main male character is also quite likable, of course. Zayden, everyone already loves him. He's a very cool character. We like him. And I think I already told you, he has this unique power. He has this unique ability. His signet is something very interesting that's one of my actual favorite magical powers in fantasy books. And that was very exciting to find out. Speaking of magic systems, the magic system in this book is very fascinating. I was surprised. I didn't expect that. It's unique. Each person has their own type of magic, because the magic comes from the bond the writer makes with their dragons. Every writer has their own specific, unique talent that they're going to use in battle. And I thought that part was very well done. It was very exciting. And of course, there are dragons. The thing that sold this book to me were the dragons. I picked it up because of the dragons and the cover. The dragons are really, really fantastic in this book. I mean, maybe I haven't read books recently featuring dragons, so I miss them a lot, but I miss talking dragons who have their own personality, who have their own characteristics, their own, kind of language. That part was very enjoyable. I really liked the introduction of the dragons, when we kind of interact with them, not just when we see them first time. When we interact with them, once you get to that part, things get very exciting. I couldn't put down the book. It's about halfway, a little bit earlier than halfway through the book, you get to those parts, the dragon parts, and the story becomes so much more interesting because the powers start showing up. And I don't want to spoil too much. Those parts are really good. I was so excited. When I was at that point of the book, I was telling myself I might even give this book a 5-star review, but it was very good, those parts. But the final result of the book, the book as a whole picture, it comes down to 4 stars for me, because there were things that I wanted to be better. There are other fantasy books that have them, and this book didn't have them, so I have to be fair. I gave it 4 stars because of those, which I'm gonna mention. After the dragon excitement comes into the book, the story kind of gets a bit slowed. When you reach the 70% point of the book, the story kind of slows down a bit. For me, myself, if I didn't push myself, if I put the book down, my reading experience might have, stretched to a week, and that wasn't good. So if you want to read this, if you think that's gonna happen to you, my advice is read it fast. Don't put it down. Just go over those parts. That's gonna slow down a bit, and you'll be fine. You're still gonna enjoy the book a lot. But that part is a very small portion of the book. You get over it once the end of the book action starts happening. You kind of forget about that, and that fades into the background, and it kind of gets interesting again just very fast. The ending was also very good. I liked it. It was exciting. It had the right elements, I think. To tell you the truth, this book isn't very twisty. I mean, if you have read enough fantasy books, you kind of get what's gonna happen. You kind of guess it. And I don't think that's the point of the book. It didn't matter to me, see what's gonna come, guess that this is gonna happen at the end. You might see it, and I didn't mind it. Many people really loved the cliffhanger at the end. And I heard people talking on Bookstagram that this is This book does have a very bad cliffhanger, and you're gonna regret your decision to read this book, because the next one's not coming out, I think, till November this year, which is also not that far away, by the way. But yeah, I didn't find the book, ending at the point where you can't live anymore, you have to read the next book. It's not like that. It wasn't like that for me. I laughed, I cried, I was stressed, and it was fun. It was good. And I think I like where the romance was left, because that's gonna, push us to read the next book, and it's gonna be easier to follow the story because of what happened. I like that. I approve of that. Now, besides all the fun and the dragon parts and the fighting scenes and everything that's good about this book, the romance is good, our main character is very good. Beside those points, and of course my favorite dragon, let's put them aside for a moment. Now I'm gonna tell you what pushed me, to lower the rating of this book to 4 stars. For me, this book lacked nice word building, because fantasy books, especially epic fantasy book, high fantasy books, you need word building, because it's not our world. The reader is going to get a little bit confused about how this world is working, what are the dynamics, what are the politics, how's the military working out, how's the kingdom running itself. You have to know specific items for me in epic fantasy that gets you prepared to enjoy the story. This book lacked a little bit on that account. If you're not very much used to fantasy books, and if you just want to enjoy another world, another story, you may not even notice that. But if you're, well read in fantasy genre, you will notice it. This is there. The world building lacks a little bit. Characterization, I think it was fine. Personally, I didn't need more in characterization, but it could have more. We could have connected more to the backgrounds of our characters, especially a few of them. We could have known them better, but well, that was the decision of the author, of course, to, include the background stories, include glimpses into each character. She decided to give us this much, and I thought it was fine, but it's worth mentioning that it could have been better, even though it's not at all bothersome. It doesn't affect the story, it doesn't affect your enjoyment of the story. And one other tiny little complaint was that I did not get the necessity of the brutality in this book. This book is about a college for dragon riders, and it is said that it's very brutal, it's very bloody. People are gonna die all the time, and you have to be prepared for that. It could have been better. It could have, have more of a punch. We lose so many characters without enough depth to their loss, I think. And I don't know, the logic of the war didn't work a bit for me, because they were at war and they needed every resource they had, but people were dying unnecessarily. They could have just dropped out. They could have just, joined other ranks in their society, quit being a dragon rider. Yeah, there was this necessity to people just dying off, and that kind of bothered me a bit at first, but it goes to the background. You kind of stop thinking about it. You kind of accept the logic of the book, but it was there for me. That was the main reason I didn't give this book a 5 star, because everything else was perfect. I really loved Violet, and I think the characterization of Zayden was really good. I think those kind of male characters are quite attractive to read about, and the romance was on point. It was nice, it was good, even though later parts of the book it became a little bit repetitive, just a little bit. Not too much for me, maybe it's my reading taste, but it was still very good. It was still overall, romance-wise, it was very nice, very good, very exciting. And the dragons, I cannot stop telling you about the dragons. The dragons were perfect. Grumpy talking dragons are one of my favorite tropes in fantasy books, and I would always love that if it's done well. I would always appreciate that. I also love talking black cats for witches, I have a thing for that too. So the dragons being so interactive with the writers was so fun to me. I really liked that. I wanted more of that. I couldn't get enough of it. And that was, I think, the highlight of the book for me. Everyone might say it was the romance that sold the book, but I'd say it was the dragons. They were so good. I really enjoyed their presence. I really enjoyed their specific grumpiness. And this is not a spoiler, obviously you're gonna get it. I love the one that bonds with Violet, and amazing. I can't tell you more. So overall, I do recommend reading this book if you're not, very picky about your fantasy reads. If you read fun fantasy books just for the fun of them, pick this book up. It's probably better than you expect. Maybe it's not perfect. It isn't perfect. I'm gonna be honest. It's not a 5-star read. It's 4 stars, maybe for some people a bit lower, but it's something you can enjoy. If the story is interesting to you, if you like to read about dragons, talking dragons, you can check it out. It's very enjoyable. And if your favorite genre is romance fantasy, what are you waiting for? Just pick it up. It's really good. I do recommend. People who enjoy Sarah J. Maas's book are gonna love this book, I think, because why not? I do like her books too, so I'm gonna say, if you love her, go read this one. You're gonna end up being obsessed with it. It's really good. I will wait for the second book to come out in November. Was it November? I think it was November. Yeah, I will wait for that one. Iron Flames, I think it's called. And I would immediately read that one too. But don't worry about the cliffhanger. You know, the cliffhanger is not the type that puts a stop to your life and you can survive the next few months. You'll be okay. It's not that bad. That was what I thought about Fourth Wing. I was really surprised. Specifically, the first half of the book was a very, very enjoyable experience for me. I could not put the book down. When I started the book, I had to go to work next morning and I could not sleep at night. The very first parts are so interesting, so fast-paced, so engaging that you may even finish it in a day. If I didn't have to go to work, I would have finished it in a day, but unfortunately I couldn't. And I did have 2 sleepless nights because I just couldn't. I only slept enough so I would be alive. So if you're picking it up, pick it up at a point where you have time to read it. A weekend or something. So you won't end up torturing yourself. It's good, it's fun. So yeah, I think that was all my thoughts without spoiling anything to you guys. I tried not to spoil too much. Hopefully I didn't. I don't think I did. So without any prejudice, I'd say go give this book a shot because it's worth it. It might become a favorite depending on your reading taste. Very few people would actually hate this book, I think. So yeah, that was it for this reading vlog and this spoiler-free book review attached to it. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.